are live. Okay, we had a program today. I'm not even sure what the program was, but after wires came through yesterday, there are only two plots left for the end of year special. So we decided to switch up and here we go. Switch up and come on back and do a recap. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So yeah, we're looking to do a recap today of the end of year special. Oh, there's only two left. Here we go. Tried to do this before we went live, but the option wasn't there. It's another thing that TikTok has to improve on. All right, there we go. All right. Okay, so there are only two plots left as far as the end of year special is concerned. Um, we don't count something as gone until the wire arrives. So if you're in the process, or if you have one of our service agreements and you still need to sign it and return it or whatever, then you are not counted in those people who have purchased an end of year special package. So there are two left. I think there's maybe one contract out that needs to be signed and returned. So worst case scenario or best case scenario, there's one left. And so we are trying to get an additional acre so that we can offer 8 more plots. But at this time of year, the land board is on holiday and all of that stuff. So even if we did secure that additional acre, there is a chance that we wouldn't be able to convert it until late January, and the special ends in February. So this might be it. Happened pretty quick. So I know maybe some of you guys were kind of waiting around to let things happen, or holiday season or whatever. That may not be an option anymore because there are only two left. So if you saw this as a significant method to go ahead and relocate and then not have to work after you do so, or have passive income take care of you while you were here. I know that was a big deal for a lot of you guys. If that's something that you guys are focused on, now is the time to act. So we wanted to go ahead and recap it for you guys real quick. The Freedom family here. The end of year special includes your immigration. Okay, so immigration servicing is included at whichever permit fits you best, right? So permit analysis, figure out which permit aligns with you the best, and then that permit is included. Okay, your all of your tax paperwork and all your government paperwork and compliance paperwork is also included. The land at Deanne Beach is included. The new construction on that land in Deanne Beach is included. Okay. A trust fund that manages the entire operation is also included. And really the creme de la creme, I suppose, of the package is the bond ladder is included. Okay, so the bond ladder is what produces the passive income, and so that is included as well. That has really been the major point for most folks that we've spoken to that have gone ahead and pulled the trigger on the package, has been the passive income. All right. All right. We are also here in Deanna Beach. For those of you guys asking on YouTube. All right. Oh, yeah, that you're right. Okay, you're right. There's always an issue with construction. We don't do change orders though. So, we never do change orders. We've gotten this thing down over the last decade and a half to the point where we don't have to do them anymore. There's still problems. We just eat them. You know what I mean? Problems still arrive in the construction process. We just eat those problems. So yeah, we never call for a change order. It's actually contractual. We do service level agreements with everybody, so it's actually contractual, and the contract is a contract. So if we lose money building your house, that's on us. But we don't do change orders. Because we don't do change orders, we also don't typically do tranches. We typically do service packages. You pay for it, and then you get what you pay for, and that's the end of that. Good question, though. Sounds like you've built a house and it ended up costing double. That never happens with us. We're contractually obligated to build a house at the price that you pay, and we can't change the price. Yes, there were 12. You're right. There were 12 to begin with. Now there's two, right? We announced it, what, last week? So in a week, 10 people, remember, we don't count it as gone until the money hits our bank account. So 10 people have paid in that last week. We had way more talkers, which is what always happens, but 10 people have pulled the trigger. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's a lot of building. Our folks are ready. Yeah, our contractors actually came back today. We actually had a group of contractors on site over the holiday as well. We had holiday overtime for certain mason workers, and there was some other group. I think Tyler's masons and brickies maybe, but there were a couple folks that actually worked over the holiday. Yes. Yeah. No. Well, we only do immigration to Kenya. Yeah. But the immigration is included. Our law firm will handle full immigration. Kenya. Somebody else is asking about Africa. Kenya. Are you guys connected? You guys asking the same question on two different live streams? Typically, people are Class K. But if someone wants to open a business, then the business that they want to open would require them to have a Class G typically. There are niche businesses that have different classifications, right? So if you want to open a mining business, that has its own permit. If you want to open a agricultural business, that has its own permit. But typically the Class G is better because the Class G has tax incentives and stuff like that. So, and you can open any business with a Class G versus just being able to open a mine with a mining permit and just being able to open a farm with an agricultural permit. Yeah, yeah. How does what look for a Somali Swedish citizen? the country of Kenya. I don't. What do you mean? House is it's a two bedroom, 1600. It's actually bigger than 1600 square feet, but approximately 1600 square foot house. It comes with a utility room of some sort, so it can be an office or a library or whatever, or a third bedroom, right? Two-story house. There have been a bunch of clients that were older. They didn't want to like climb steps. So we did work with the contractors to create a rancher that utilized the same building materials, right? Because that's how the special was priced out. So we had to make sure that we didn't affect the pricing of the special in and of itself. So we can do a rancher as well. So if you prefer a single story house, we can do that. What are you doing for New Year's? Building all these houses. Yeah, no, that's the first thing that we do. So what'll end up happening is we will go ahead and send out the service level agreement. Service level agreement will be signed and notarized and sent back. Then an invoice comes out. Then you wire the invoice. Once the wire arrives, then we start building the trust deed. So because the trust fund is typically the longest process, right? We got to dot all our I's and cross all our T's in setting up the trust fund, so that it does exactly what you want it to do and benefits you in the way that you want it to benefit you and has all the rules in it that you want in it. So very next step is we get into the trust deed. And so once we're building out the trust deed, that typically takes typically takes about a business week, right? And maybe 2 or 3 meetings. So we'll have a meeting, we'll go over everything that you want. We'll get that drawn up, and then we'll do an internal red team. So what we'll do is like half the law firm will try to break the trust. So they'll bring up any legal loopholes they see of how they would try to attack the trust and all of that. So there'll be a red team, blue team exercise with that. Then there'll be a red team, blue team report that'll come out. And then, the client can decide what holes they want to patch, if they see those holes as risky at all. If, for some people, it's not even a hole. And then from there, we'll do the final draft of the trust deed. We'll send that back for approval. We'll get an approval on the final draft of the trust deed, and then we'll create the trust. Once we create the trust, at that point, we're typically in a position where the title deed has converted. That takes time too because of the Kenyan process. So that has to go to the land board and get permission from the land board, then come back from the land board, has to go to the county and be franked by the county. Then closing costs have to be paid to the county and to the tax assessor's office and all of that stuff. And then the county releases the new title deed. Right. Once the new title deed is released, then we have to take the new title deed and go to the county offices with the blueprints and get the blueprints approved. And then we need to do an environmental impact study with Kenya's version of the EPA. They're called NEMA. So then we got to go get a NEMA certificate. Then we have to set up a billboard that says who like the architect is, who the general contractor is, and all that stuff. That's a point of law as well. And so we have to get all of that stuff set up and ready to rock, and posted at the site. Then we build the perimeter wall. After we build the perimeter wall, we start construction on the property, right? So there's a whole bunch of stuff that has to happen as far as government compliance is concerned. And so all of that, and I skipped over a bunch of stuff just to not make it super boring. But there's a bunch of government compliance stuff, and a lot of it is approval stuff. So like the land board could not approve the transfer of the land for some reason and want you to bring an additional document or something. The county could not approve the blueprint because the county engineer or something has some issue, and so then you got to go back and do something else with them. So those approvals take forever. So once those approvals are done, then we turn around and get started. So, and that's when the 9 months start. So if the approvals decide to be a real pain in the ass, the longest it's ever backed us up is 2 months. Typically, it takes 4 weeks. Yeah, typically it takes 4 weeks. The longest it's ever backed us up has been 2 months. No, you can't. You can't pick your own plot in the special because the special is priced out. So you can come in and not do the special and just do our normal package and pick anywhere you want. And then it'll be priced accordingly. But if you want the locked in price, then you have to, everything else is locked in as well. That's how the price was created. Yes, 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 yes. You can, I mean, you can upgrade whatever. That's always on the table, right? So you're always able to upgrade anything that you want to upgrade. That's fine. Some folks have upgraded to like full solar off grid. A lot of people choose that upgrade. It's very, very popular. Um, some people just upgrade to a backup generator. So, that's popular too. What other upgrade is popular? It's not particularly popular in the sense that like most people do it because most people don't. But a lot of people like techies who have the budget like to do a smart upgrade. So you could do a smart upgrade. Um, it'd be costly in this regard. It typically doubles the price of the house when you do a smart upgrade, but everything in the house is smart. So like the door is smart, so it has, almost like a what do they call those systems? I haven't been in the United States for so long, I've forgotten the name of them. But it has like a camera system and all that. You can open it remotely, you can close it remotely, you can talk through it and all of that. Um, the the house controls, so like the HVAC is smart, the lighting is smart. There are smart like receptacles, like plug receptacles throughout the house. So there are places like on the island, there's a place where like you wave your hand and a circle comes up out of the island that it has like plugs in it. For I guess if you want to do an air fryer or whatever. You can like wave your hand and it goes back. You wave your hand at the cabinets and the cabinets like come down. You can still open them, the regular way if you want to, but they'll like float down. If there's something in the way, they'll like stop and they'll go back up and all of that stuff. You talk to the toilet, it talks back, it cleans you, it cleans itself, like it, does all of that. So yeah, the smart house is like a smart house. And it always includes the solar upgrade as well. So the solar upgrade is included in the smart upgrade. That's why it's definitely the most expensive upgrade. But if you like technology like that, it's definitely worth it. Yeah, yeah, no, it has like if you walk up the steps, like the steps light up, you know what I mean, which is helpful at night or whatever. Um, you're walking to the kitchen for a snack at night, you don't have to turn on any lights. Like as soon as you get to the step, it senses you and it turns on the lights going down the steps and all that stuff and coming up the steps. Um, so yeah, yeah, it's a smart house. Yeah, it's a legit smart house. Correct. That's an upgrade. Yep. I don't know why I woke up belching so much today. Diani Beach. Diani Beach is south of Mombasa. Yep, south of Mombasa. Yep, it's in the Kinando suburb, so it's right outside of Diani Beach. Oh, okay. It's second row. So you know a little something about Kenyan coastal real estate then. Yep, it's second row from the beach. A first row plot is like $700,000. So that'd be a bad assumption to make that it was beachfront at that price. What are the rows are the rows from the beach essentially. So the first acre, it's a little more than an acre actually, but the first like I don't know acre and maybe an acre and a quarter from the actual sand line of the beach is the first row of the beach, and then the next like 4 acres is the second row, and then everything beyond that is third row. So even if you're not beachfront, but you're in the first row, typically means that you have a beach view, right? Or at least you can create one if you build up instead of, wide. And so all of that has beachfront pricing, which is beachfront pricing, right? It is what it is. And then second row is where you can get some savings. You're close enough to the beach where you can walk there in 10 minutes. But unless you're on a hill, which the acre that we're looking at acquiring now does actually have one of those hills. So there might be one house there that actually is ocean view because it's not particularly far away. It's just the second row. So what ends up happening is when you're in Diani, there's a road called Beach Road. That road essentially separates first row from second row. A little bit of the other side of the road is still first row because there's that. It's not quite an acre. It's more than it's like an acre and a quarter from the beach. So there is a bit there that's still first row, but essentially that road, everything on the ocean side of the road is first row, everything behind the road is second row, and then there's another road called Ramisi Road, and everything on the other side of Ramisi Road essentially is third row. So sometimes you can tell by like the title deed, right? It's like where this land is, it says phase two, so that's second row, right? If you were to look at the title deed from the other side of Ramisi Road, it'll say phase three. Right. And the beachfront stuff will either just say the name of the area, right? Or it'll say phase one. It's just about beachfront, just like anywhere else in the world. Beachfront, lakefront, oceanfront, waterfront, all those, they're all more. Yeah. I mean, there are folks that we do phase like beachfront for, but they're just focused on that. So they're just willing to pay the premium for beachfront. That's all. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like your plan, right? Like sometimes it serves whatever it is that you're doing, and like you need beachfront. Like there was somebody who wanted to do an actual boutique hotel, right? A boutique beachfront hotel. So obviously they needed beachfront, right? There was someone else who wanted to do like a beachfront resort, but they didn't actually have the money for beachfront anything. So then that didn't work out for them. So it's just about whether or not you want to spring for beachfront like luxury. It's a luxury buy essentially. Me, no, not at this point. Not at this point. I might do a beachfront later, but if I do a beachfront, it would be like an area that's not well known. Yeah, yeah. Well, for me, so I end up like waiting on that, right? Like that's why we don't like live at our house in Meru, right? Because the baby's new, still growing up. We want him to go to like certain schools, and we want to make sure that there's a world class hospital nearby. So as people get older and as people get more like self sufficient and stuff like that, then we might go to like the country house in Meru and stay there more than we stay, in Deani Beach and stuff like that. So getting like a beachfront like out of the way, like in a place that's not touristy, where the beach isn't that great, like it's not like there's some beaches that get like overrun with like seaweed, right? So they're not like all that great for, people to be hanging out on and laying out towels on and all that. That's obviously way cheaper than doing a beachfront like here in Indiana where it's a tourist mecca. I don't know. I couldn't give you a price on that. I'd have to price it with an agent. Land banking, man. That's how you do it. Yeah. Yeah, no, well, because the entire end of year special could conceivably just be the price of the land because of the area it's in, right? So all of that's just land banking. It's just about buying the land early, and then you have access to land at lower prices than market. That's all. Yeah, you got to be able to get you to, not need money for, 5, 10 years. That's the difference. And it's totally speculative. That's the other difference, right? So if you're investing in bonds or stocks or options or whatever, there's some research that should have gone into that a little bit. But if you're land banking, it's purely speculative. You're just speculating that this land is going to be worth more later. Now, it's less risky here in general than it might have been, back in the states and all that. Because in the states, certain neighborhoods go down in value and all of that stuff. But here, it's been like a constant 6% every year that real estate increases. So definitely less speculative in that way. But past performance is not an indicator of future performance. So yes, you can. We have a couple clients, but they're in Mtwapa. So there are different like marinas and different beaches and all that. We do have a couple clients that like do yachting and have boats and all of that. I think because they do boats, they chose Mtwapa. There's like an inlet right? So there's like an inlet from the Indian Ocean in Mtwapa. There's like restaurants that like on little floating islands out there and all that, and there are yacht docks in that inlet. So on the physical beach in Indiana, there are plenty of boats as well. Not too many like yachts though, even like small yachts, even like catamarans and stuff. There's not too much of that. But on the other side, in the Twapa side, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of like little yachts, catamarans, sailboats, all that stuff. Yeah, yeah. If you're part of that boating culture, you could do that out here. I saw you guys relocated a family of 12. We are a family of 7. We would also like to proceed. So yeah, so the end of year special isn't gonna. Well, let me think about that. There's only 2 left. So you're a family of 7. Break that down. How does the 7 work? I'll wait. I'll wait for your response. Because technically, if you got 2 specials, and that utility room that could be an office or could be or whatever, or could be an extra bedroom, was an extra bedroom, that would technically be 6 bedrooms. 6 bedrooms, 6.5 bathrooms. So husband, wife, mother, father, and what are the ages on the kids? Okay, so like 2 kids and an adult then. Okay. I mean, you could. We could probably work something out with a minor upgrade. So you could. You'd have to move pretty fast though. Send me an email. Send me an email, and we'll review everything, and then we'll send you out a contract if you wanted to just buy 2 specials, and then you would get 6 bedrooms, 6.5 baths. You get 2 houses, so mom and dad could live off, in another house. And I don't know what the adult child is like. Do you want them in like an AUD in the backyard of mom and dad's house, or you know what I mean? Because that's something that could be worked out as well, where they had essentially their own apartment on the property, and then there'd be a second property, second title deed, second house, and there'd be 2. You would get 2 bond ladders, so that would actually be, you'd get double the amount of passive income just by buying both. So that actually might make sense for you. Because if you build for a family of 7, you're probably going to be in the 400,000 range, probably somewhere around there. So it might make sense because you'd be like 3 something if you got 2 of them. So it might make sense for you. But they're going fast, so it's not going to be something to like quibble over. So if you need time, then you might as well just start talking bespoke because it's going to be gone. Right, and then that price is not going to include passive income or anything. It's just going to be the price of the house, right? Well, yeah, immigration is always included, so it'll still include immigration, but even your immigration costs are going to be enhanced because there's more than just the one of you, right? Right. So with the special, yeah, the immigration is the primary person, and then dependent passes and all that are additional. But dependent passes are way cheaper than, yeah, like an immigration permit is gonna run like 12 grand, right? But a dependent pass is gonna run like 2,500, right? So it's way different. So getting that 12 grand included is way more significant than getting, dependent passes and all of that included. Couldn't even do it. A pass has to be attached to a permit. So there has to be a permit first, and then you attach the pass to the permit. Yeah. Yeah, man, shoot me an email. Shoot me an email. Should be on that account. All of these live streams are all on business accounts. So shoot an email. You probably won't get me directly, but shoot an email. Let them know what you want. Let them know that there's only two left, and they should like a reply with the service agreement because there's only two left. Go ahead, get the service agreement notarized, have your legal team look over it and all of that. Notarize it, send it back, and they'll send you an invoice. And as soon as you pay the invoice, you're locked in. So, yeah, you'd probably want to do that in the next 24 hours. Yeah, but you don't have to rush. You can just, you'll miss the special, sure, but you can just do it the regular way. If you need time or you need to figure things out, you need to talk to your family, do that. You know what I mean? Maybe, maybe. The passive income we don't control, right? It's controlled by the Central Bank of Kenya. So them having high enough bond rates, that passive income that can actually take care of your entire family is possible. Is completely up to the Treasury, right? So we can't say that it's going to be viable and available when you're ready, unfortunately. I think that's why so many people like jumped on the special so quickly because they definitely want that passive income, but they understand that we can't guarantee that it's going to be around forever. So the faster they get on it, the more guarantee they have of actually getting it. Yeah, well, for a generational wealth trust, it kind of doesn't matter because then the bond ladder is just helping to supercharge the compounding effect, right? So you have the bond ladder in place, and the bond ladder would then pay out once a month into the trust, and then the trust deed would instruct the trustee to utilize whatever level of drip that you put into the trust deed to make additional investments. Oh, I'm sorry. A drip is a drip is a dividend reinvestment plan, right? So as the money comes in from the bonds, you would have put in the trust deed that like all the money that comes into this trust from investments or from sovereign wealth investments. You can be specific, of course, and you can say, okay, all the money that comes in, 80% of it. So that'd be an 80% drip. 80% of it is going to be reinvested into another market, right? And so right now it's like Oak Special Fund, Mansa X, Arc Pro, and those things like that. So what ends up happening is you get your payment every month, and then maybe 80% of that goes into another investment, and then you're keeping 20% behind to just handle overhead, or just have some cash on hand inside the trust or whatever the case may be, right? And so then that comes back and that makes its return on investment, and then the same thing happens when it pays out its return on investment. 80% gets kicked back in, right? And so that's how compounding works. All right. And so by having the bond ladder there, you're supercharging the compounding, because your standard compounding could work off of any number. The lower the number, the longer the compounding. So you could literally start your generational wealth trust and then put $1,000 in it, like a tax return in it, right? And then have that $1,000 compound for the next 6 years, just the $1,000, right? But if you make 10% the first year on the $1,000, right, 10% on that $1,000 is going to be like $100, right? So you made $100 in the first year. Then the second year, now it's $1,100 instead of 1,000. You do 10% again, it might be 110 that gets added to the 11, and so every time there's an addition, it's slightly higher, right? But because that number is so small, it's going to take forever for that account to be worth anything substantial, right? So if you have the bond ladder and they're paying in every month, for $400 every month, getting paid into the trust, and then that becomes part of the compounding. Now you're supercharging the trust compounding. So now what would have took 6 years is going to take like 15. So when people put the bond ladder in the trust, they can name their kids generational wealth beneficiaries and actually have significant generational wealth in the trust fund in their kids' lifetime, because it's being supercharged by the bond ladder. Okay, I'm happy you get that. Happy I laid it out in a way that you could understand it. Yeah, it's pretty sweet right now. What did we do before? People paid cash. It was harder, and they had to be able to support themselves. We used to have a government contractor program, but ever since Doge, it's not even worth it. So that program is suspended until there's a new president that corrects the broken government of the U.S. But we used to have a government contracting program, and we were able to register people in NATO cage, so the government contractors could be international. They didn't need to be U.S. businesses. So even our Canadian clients and our UK clients and all that could end up being government contractors, and that would create some passive income. But it was way harder than just buying a bond, that's for sure. But there are inverse standards to that. The easier thing always costs more. The harder thing always costs less. So the investment to getting into government contracting is always going to be less than the investment to just buying a bond because it's easy, right? So easy, instant passive income is going to be more expensive always than, something that you got to break your back to achieve and might not achieve for 18 months, you know. No, we don't hold anything, my friend. Sorry. Definitely can't hold the last two for you. But like I said, have you sent the email yet? Send the email. I mean, they'll send you out everything that we can as quickly as possible. It actually works for your family size, so it might be a really good thing for you, since you'll get double the passive income, but we can't hold it unless you just wire us money now. Then we can. And if you're willing to wire money without a contract, but we don't we won't hold it for you. It's nothing's real until the money hits the account. That's like a policy of ours. Everybody who works for me knows that motto. So it doesn't matter how good a sales call they had, or how much that person said they wanted it, or it's going to change their life. If the money hasn't hit the account, it ain't real. We get a lot of dreamers. We get a lot of dreamers. Even we put the paywall on our consultation. We used to do free consultations where people will waste our time, like book a consultation and not show up because they had no skin in the game and all of that stuff. And people would call just like bounce ideas off of us and all kinds of other nonsense. So you put up a paywall, and even with the paywall, there are people who like, I don't know, they need to dream out loud so badly that like they'll even pay just to sit on the phone and talk and then never execute. So we see that a lot. We've seen it. It's been consistent for, a decade and a half. So we've learned not to count chickens before they hatch. So we definitely don't hold, specials up from paying clients for people who haven't paid yet. And we don't consider any deal done until the money has hit the bank. So it just is what it is. Fair enough. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, all of our policies have come from years of doing this and dealing with the nonsense, the good and the bad. So when nonsense pops up, it ends up creating a new policy. It's like kind of the same thing as like the U.S. stuff, right? Like you buy a toy and it says on the toy, don't allow kids to wrap this toy around their head, suffocation hazard. And you look at it and you're like, who would allow? Somebody did. That's why that warning is there. Somebody did it, and it created that warning. So it's one of those things where like all the policies come from those types of situations. Right. I mean, most of it's all like good intentions, you know what I mean? But good intentions don't lead to success. You sent the email. Um, ooh, there's nobody in my home office right now. All right, I'll have somebody get into that. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, you can still do. You can do generational wealth all day, right? That's not a special price. That's just the price of the ladder. So you can do generational wealth all day. That's not an issue. You can do generational wealth without a ladder. So that's not a special at all. With or without a ladder. Both. Okay, funded or unfunded. Unfunded. So if it's just an unfunded trust fund, then you're looking at like 6 grand. If it's funded, it depends on what you want to fund it with, right? Like you can fund it with any amount that you want to fund it with, but the it also depends on who the trustee is. So if you're going to do a non-grantor, then it's going to be what is it, 10, because there are some requirements to make sure that it's non-grantor, um, like a corporate trustee, and then there are some laws that govern what a corporate trustee has to have in the bank to be able to protect its trust. So then that changes pricing. If you're a grantor trust, then it's cheaper. Primarily, the difference is impactful on Americans, right? So primarily, if you're an American and you have a non-grantor trust, then you legally don't have to report anything to the IRS until that trust makes a distribution to a U.S. citizen, or you settle a U.S. asset into the trust, right? So it makes it more simple for American clients dealing with taxes. But depending on what that person has going on, and if they already have a complicated tax situation or whatever, or if they're going to do some kind of like foreign dividend, received tax write off or whatever, then it might make sense for them to just go ahead and make it grantor and pay all the taxes and filing fees and all of that stuff that goes into having a grantor trust. So it just depends, and that's going to be a determination made by your tax team, your local tax team. Well, yeah, if it's non-grantor, then you're not the trustee. So you're paying a trustee. That's why the price changes. If it's grantor, then you are the trustee, and then you're responsible for all of the taxes and all of the filings and the FBAR and the FinCEN and all of the stuff that you got to do. Just go to irs.gov and type into the search bar non-grantor trust and grantor trust. And read what the IRS has to say about it. Yeah. No, I mean, if you're waterfalling, if you're getting a bond ladder, it does. Well, for the trust, people typically do a basic one because you're not living off of it. So if you're doing that, then you're gonna come in at like 75. So if you're gonna do the bond ladder plus the trust, then you're looking at 85. hmm The compounding is crazy. Like, let me see here. There you go. So that are folks who started in 2023. So it's up on TikTok. I can wait for you to switch over to TikTok if you want to see it. But those are the folks that started. Actually, they started in 2022. So 3 years of those numbers are actual numbers, and then there's projections based on the actual number. So started in 2022. That first year, the bond ladder gave them about 713,000 in local output. By the second year, it was already over a million. By the third year, it was almost it was over a quarter of a. I'm sorry, not a quarter of a million. I'm sorry. It was 250. 2,560,000. I am sorry. Jesus. And then they're looking at next year. Are we locked in on next year's numbers? Oh, by the way, look for an email. Yeah. Are we locked in on next year yet? Not yet. Okay. So next year they're looking at there's a projection of 3,790,000, and we're on track. So I don't see why we should hit that, right? So by year 10, there's 15 million in there, all right? By year 15, there's 36. By year 20, there is 88 million in 20 years. So it just depends, local currency, of course. Yeah. But then you get your initial capital back because it's a bond. So on the bond side, you get the initial capital back. That's it. that's kind of the beauty of a bond versus a stock. Like a stock, you pay for the stock, and then it's worth what it's worth. And if the stock goes to zero, what you paid for it went to zero. With a bond, you pay for the bond, you get the interest rate paid back to you. It's called the coupon payment. But then at the end of maturity, you get your money back, right? So yeah, yeah. Well, it's generational wealth. You asked about generational wealth, right? So 20 years is nothing. If it's a personal wealth plan, it's a whole different plan. But if it's generational wealth and it's for the kids and the grandkids, you're talking 60 years. So to be able to do that in 20, the only reason you can do that in 20 is because you're doing the bond laddering. Hey, brother. Hey, what's going on, man? Hey, you can come on over. It's all good. I don't know if I do. I have a signature package pad for you, or are you just dropping off?
Yeah, signature.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Who asked me yesterday about my next Amazon package? Do I need an ID number?
No.
Okay. Hey. Hey, thanks for MJ. Yeah, man. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the easy part, right? The money is always the easy part when it comes to generational wealth. Okay, so yes, the numbers look great and they're supposed to look great because compounding is awesome, but that does not guarantee that your family is going to become a generational wealth family. That's it. The money is super, super duper easy. Just doesn't benefit you, right? So, compounding over 60 years is a very, very easy thing to do. It just won't benefit you, right? So generational wealth, money part's really, really, really easy, but it's the education part and the teaching stewardship to your family part that's incredibly difficult. All right, thank you. All right, thank you, my friend.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Mm.
Most of it's my wife's, so she'll be happy. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank
I think I have a lot more coming, so you should be, and I think it's all coming Amorex. So I should see you over the next couple weeks. All right, thanks.
you.
No, it's like DHL. That's all from. Well, here, let me show you. It's all still Amazon, still same Amazon packaging and all that stuff, Prime and all whatever. But instead of it being like UPS or US, USPS or whatever, Amerex is just one of the shippers. So there's Amerex, there's Wells Fargo, there's G4S, the security company. It's like a package company here, and yeah, so. Check the spam. You sure you sent the email? Are you still there? Check the spam, see what's what. Yeah, to myfreedom at diasporaltd.com. Yep, that's right. No, don't do that. If you see an email, that's good enough. Don't say the name, because people don't use their real names on here. Yeah. All right, I think we got the email. We'll reply to you soon. Sure. Hey, buddy. Ah, okay. Hold on, guys. My son. Jeez. He wasn't even really awake. All right. Yes, my governess is gone. Ah, it's heartbreaking. That's why my coffee is still sitting here like this, because it was not made by the governess this morning, and it tastes like shit. So I'm gonna have to train the replacement in how to make and how to use the espresso machine. You remembered that, huh? Yeah, so I don't. Maybe that one's mine. No, not that one. That one. Yeah. Does it say fragile or something? Huh. I think I. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think I ordered like. Well, no. I mean, yes, but they're not coming yet. But I think the artisanal maple syrup is in one of them. But it should be like 5 bottles. So it would have to be the bigger one. The what? Gummies. Did you order gummies?
Oh, it's mine.
Oh.
I didn't order this.
What?
Yeah, mine.
It can only be in that bigger box. There's no way it can't fit in any other box. So if it's not there, it just hasn't come yet.
I don't want to open it now.
All right.
I want to make that bigger for my birthday Christmas gift.
Yeah, make it bigger. All right.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'm going back to bed.
All right.
hi to your fam.
Sure thing. All right. Anything else that we got going on? This has been a super quick, I guess, live. We've only been here for an hour, but definitely wanted to give people the opportunity, and the update to know what's going on with the special, so that if uh, now we are looking to acquire that plot, but the government shut down right now. As far as, it's not like a U.S. government shutdown. It's just all the top people are away on holiday leave, right? So it's the end of December holidays and the New Year holidays all end up getting wrapped into one. So they may not be back in country until, like, I don't know, January 15th. So things like transferring land, we need the signature of the lands department, the director of lands for the county, in order to convert a land title and stuff like that. So even if we are looking to pick up, this other acre to be able to still do the end of year special for you guys, the issue is that we wouldn't be able to convert the title deed of that land until like the middle of January, and then we can't confirm that we'll be able to do the bonds past like end of February. So this might be it. It all depends on how quickly all of that goes through, but this might be it. So just be aware of that. Yeah, no, I mean the government's definitely the kind of the pace car, so we can only do things as fast as the government does them, and in certain areas the government's super slow. Yeah, I mean, so that's where doing this for so long really, really helps, because now we know people in government offices, we have relationships with certain government offices, so that's why we can get a lot of things done faster than competitors or whatever, because they don't have a relationship. They don't have 12 years of relationships with immigration, and 12 years of relationships with county lands in certain counties, and 12 years of relationships in franking, like federal lands is where they do like franking and all that stuff, which is necessary for trust documentation and whatnot. They don't have relationships with the banks, with NCBA, with Equity Bank, with Consolidated Bank, and so on and so forth. So like when you don't have the relationships, you just can't move as fast as somebody who does. Mm. Yeah, I mean, yes, you can. We do have banking relationships, and yes, you can um, get local, financing and all that. We just don't recommend it. It's way better if you can get, like, are you an American? I'll wait, because I don't want to ramble off a bunch of stuff that doesn't mean anything to you if you're like a UK citizen or something. From Chicago. All right, yeah. So it's way better for you to get funding in the U.S., do what you're looking to do with it, still have the opportunity to file bankruptcy if necessary, and get maybe a lower interest rate from a U.S. bank, and it not really affect anything you're doing here. and not necessarily be enforceable through local, courts and stuff like that. Way better to do that than to put yourself in the crosshairs of something here with a higher interest rate where you may not have like the same kind of like bankruptcy protections. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, you can do it. We have done it, but typically the way that we do it here, like typically that makes more sense when you're doing something big here. So we were talking about like that those clients that did that beach hotel, right? Like then it made sense. Like, all right, you have a beach plot, which in and of itself is worth a ton of money, right? And so if you have a beachfront plot and it's more than an acre, it's more than $1 million US, right? Not even local currency, like it's more than $1 million US, easy. So at that point, now you can say, okay, we're going to build a world class, resort or something like that, and we're going to have, local financing in there backing us up on it because they're doing the financing based on the value of the property, right? Which an American bank isn't going to do. Like an American bank is going to give you financing based on whatever qualifications in the U.S. That you have for that financing, right? But you're not going to be able to get into like an international DSCR situation, right? So once you're operating at that level, that's when our banking relationships become valuable to you in the sense of, we can get, loans approved because we know what the process of approval for those loans are, and we have special relationships with those banks. But yeah, all initial, like relocation, if people are doing that, using debt or leveraging credit or whatever, that should all be done in your home country. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We got a couple wires like directly from banks. Like people just went, took the loan to do the end of the year special, and like the wire came directly from, the loan company. So yeah, people leverage debt all the time. Can you are you asking about leveraging like your credit limit on cards to do it? Or are you talking about like swiping a card? Swiping or no, we don't do that. Has to be a wire. Yeah, some people do leverage their cards and then wire those funds like that. You can do. It's typically a higher interest rate though. So why do people do it if it's a higher interest rate? Because a lot of those folks they don't care about the interest rate. They care about some incentive that's built into the card. So they'll pull everything off the card, and then they'll get like the miles or whatever incentive it is that they're trying to get, some kind of status with the card, and then they'll just pay it all off in like that same month. So then the interest rate doesn't matter. Not everybody uses a card because they don't have the cash. A lot of times people are like using the programs in the card, the incentives in the card, and they're capitalizing on that, and they actually do have the cash. Yeah. Okay. The entire special package costs the same as my down payment. Where did you buy? Richmond, Virginia? Yeah. Yeah, no, I could see that. So it's like a so you probably it's probably like the like an $800,000 house, something like that. 20% down. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, yeah. Yep. That makes sense. We hear stuff like that all the time. The people what they're saving for their down payment is what they use to like buy complete freedom. You know what I mean? Like the passive income that's included in the package, it's like you just bought retirement for the price of the down payment of a single home. Yeah. Yeah. That's why there's so many people just moving abroad in general. You can really like you can win. You can just decide to win now. So, yeah, that's what a lot of people are doing. They don't all come here. Like they pick whichever place is best for them. But yeah, you can pull the trigger and just that's it. I won. Game over. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, pretty powerful opportunities. Yeah, no, that I mean that sounds like the right price in that area, Richmond, Virginia area. Yeah, yeah. Well, all right, guys. I'll wrap it up. Unless you guys have any other questions, anything like that. There's still only two plots left. Somebody emailed us during the show, though, looking to snatch those up, but it's not real until the money's in the bank. So, still only two plots left. Reach out. We are trying to make more plots available for you. We will definitely announce it if that happens. But yeah, we're almost sold out of this end of the year special. Thanks for showing your interest and getting involved. We thought it would be pretty good for you guys, so we thought it was going to be a cracker special, and it ended up being that. So yeah, any other questions on anything else before I go? Let's see. You already got the service agreements, okay? Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep, yep. You did get the service agreements. That is a requirement of the service agreements. I've never mentioned that, so you are looking at the service agreement, actually. Yeah, yeah, and your bank can do it. Your local, like wherever you have a bank account, you can go there, and they can do. They typically do notary for free if you have an account. And then the notarial certificate, they'll know what that is, so they'll just add it and whatever. Yes, you can use an e-notary. Yep. You can use, they just gotta, you just have to make sure that they attach a notarial certificate as well. The notary's not good enough. Has to be the notary with the notarial certificate. Yeah, there's typically not an invoice until you sign the service agreement. So, and then the service agreement doesn't activate. Like, just read the agreement. You're not, even if you sign it, you're not bound to it until you wire the invoice. Which is why we always say it's nothing until the money's in the bank. Once you wire the invoice, then it activates the service agreement. How long? Oh, no, no, no. We're a U.S. company. The wire's a U.S. bank. So there's no how long does it take to get to Kenya. Yeah, a lot of people forget that. Yeah. That's the whole point. You can hold us accountable under U.S. law. Everything is U.S. And you feel better. All right. All right. Anything else? Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, yeah, because we have to pay taxes in the U.S. and we can't use like foreign tax credit because we're technically paying vendors in Kenya, so we can't use like foreign tax credit as a company or anything like that. So yeah, it does. See, you're thinking, got your thinking cap on. Anything else? All right. Looks like that is it for today. I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll probably start back up. I can't even remember what it was supposed to be today, but we just did this recap instead because we're so close to selling out. Um, and then we will let you know if we acquire that other acre, which will give us 8 more plots. So if you have engaged with us and just haven't, you know, you haven't made your wire yet, or you haven't signed your service agreement, maybe you're having your legal team look over it, that's fine. There's no need to rush. If we get the additional acre, you'll typically get an email that says like, "Hey, it's reopened." There'll probably be an email that comes out today. I guess we'll give you a chance, since you seem to be, sincere about what's going on. We'll give you a chance to get things going and get a wire in, which would sell us out. If we don't see that by the end of business today, then we will send out a, hey, there's only 2 plots left, to all of those people who had kind of started the process with us. And then probably by the next day, it'll be sold out. So in a couple of days here, it should be sold out. So then we'll let you know if we get that other acre or not. All right. I don't see any additional questions coming in. Throw one in the chat if you need me to wait for you to finish writing, or just press enter and I'll wait for you to finish writing if it comes in as a half idea. All right, looks good to me. All right, guys, see you later. Tomorrow we will be back and we will get into another aspect of what it takes, either to live over here or to move over here or to probably build generational wealth. All right. Talk to you guys soon. You know what? I might do a live series. We might go ahead and do a family constitution live. All right. Um, Let me think about that, because it would take like at least 4 lives to kind of get through the overview. But maybe we'll do that. Just so you guys can get an understanding of the foundation of a dynasty family and what it takes. Because like I said, the money is the easy part, and everybody talks about the money, but that's not the part that's going to keep the family going for multiple generations. So let me think about that. Maybe I'll do that as our giveaway in the first quarter of next year. So, all right, we'll see. All right, guys, talk to you later.